All right, I'd like to bring the Mount Olive Township Planning Board public meeting of Thursday, May 14th to order. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sarah, would you please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record, Westmore's Reporter, posted on the Mount Olive Township website, and posted at the municipal building.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
David Scapicchio.
Here.
Brian Schaechter.
Here.
Ken Forlenza.
Here.
John Batsch is excused. Catherine Natafalusy. Here. Raphael Ruggiero is excused. Dan Nelsen is excused. William Galop.
Here.
Jamie Shanaphy. Here. Eric Bradley is excused. Howie Weiss.
Here.
Mike Breland.
Here.
Walter Lubinecki.
Here.
Elizabeth Lenny. Here. James Bryce.
Here.
Thank you, Sarah. Let's look at some committee reports. Ken, anything from the mayor?
No, the mayor wanted to be here tonight. He had a conflict with a meeting in Boston Park. So
Okay.
he said he has nothing significant for the board to report.
All right, thank you, Ken. Catherine, anything from environmental?
No, I didn't attend the meeting, but I did get an email. I sent an email to Rob that I wasn't gonna be there. And he sent minutes, and he said that they did discuss that there's a kayaking event that will be held at Bud Lake on June 12th, and that invitations will be sent out.
You know, that was a big event they did last year. It was a nice
Kayaking,
thing,
yeah.
kayak thing. So June 12th, there'll be some
June 12th.
publication of that, did you
Yeah.
say?
Well, he said, in the minutes, he said invitations will be sent out. I also gave him a heads up that the 57 acres was going to be discussed tonight, and he put that in the minutes of the meeting as well.
But no report. No. Okay, thank you. Brian, anything, Board of Ed?
Nope.
I have nothing from street naming. Jim, anything? Legal?
Nothing at this time here.
Walt, anything? Mike?
No.
Liz? Any administrative things, Sarah?
Nope.
All right, so let's get right into our agenda this evening. The first thing on the agenda is minutes from November 20th, 2026. We got a copy of that by email this week. Someone please move these for us.
2025.
2020.
I apologize.
2025. That's true. Thank you, Brian. Somebody please move these.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. And a second. Thank you,
second.
David. No,
No, David.
no, David. Sorry, David. I thought you were. Ken, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All righty. Any comments, questions? Sarah, roll call.
Brian Schaechter.
Yes.
Ken Forlenza.
Yes.
William Galop.
Yes.
Howie Weiss.
Yes. We have one resolution on the agenda tonight. It's PB 20, hold on, not without my glasses. It's 25-23, which is 21 Garfield LLC. That was for granting variance relief on the property located at 260 Route 46, which was block 3300, lot 24. Copies have been distributed. If someone would please move this resolution. Brian, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, David. Comments, questions? Seeing none. Jim, anything we need to talk about on this?
No, it's been reviewed.
Okay.
Everybody agrees.
Perfect. Sarah, roll call?
David Scapicchio.
Yes.
Brian Schaechter.
Yes.
Catherine Natafalusy.
Yes.
Howie Weiss.
Yes. Okay. Let's bring up right to our first developmental application on the evening. The first is PB 26-05. Mr. Michael Ferranti, here for a C variance, property located 20 Apollo Way, which is block 6104, lot 20. Mike, welcome this evening. Do we need to swear Mr. Ferranti in?
You do. Are you going to be the only one testifying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to have you raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're giving this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Can you state your name and spell your last for the record?
Michael Ferranti, Ferranti.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Mike, here's what I'm gonna need you to do. We have the reports, we have everything that you submitted, thank you for that. Why don't you just tell us about what's happening now at your property and what brings you in tonight?
Okay, given the size of the lot, it would be essentially impossible to construct a reasonably sized pool which conforms to the requirements of the zone on the subject premises. Moving the pool away from the home, which is on a cul-de-sac, is set back further than the other houses on the lot, and might otherwise have been the case. would further encroach into the rear yard and vice versa. Furthermore, given the legal structures and improvements on the site, a reasonably sized pool would invariably necessitate a coverage variance. And here's just a picture showing you how far back my house is.
Why don't you mark that as A1,
Could Mark just write on it A1?
and we're gonna enter that into the record. Hope you didn't want to keep that picture.
What's this, like the zoo, throw pens at him.
I didn't want to hit him.
Such class.
And so while you're marking it, you could just write A1 in today's date, which is the 14th.
And then after the hearing, you can give it to Sarah.
So, what I kind of find, I appreciate, Mr. Ferranti, is you jumped right into it.
Right.
You jumped right into it. You kind of jumped up and kept, what I wanted you to really explain to the board is, talk about your current situation. Obviously, you have a yard that's a little small. We see some reasons why, and then tell the board what you want to do.
Looking to install a pool 12 by 26 in the backyard. There's little room to go around on any part of the house. That's about it. There's not much more I can say. Right?
Above ground, below ground?
In ground.
In ground.
Sorry, in ground.
I was looking over the records, Mike, and it looked like at one point you had received an approval.
That is correct. Back in 2008, I got an approval, and due to some family issues, health-wise, for my in-laws, set us back about 5 or 6 years or so. Then all of a sudden, the kids were getting older, and then school, and then baseball, and everything, and dance, and before you know it, college starts.
Realize kids are overrated and, you know.
They're well overrated.
I get it.
That's right.
From that approval that you had a couple years ago, is there a big difference what you're presenting us?
There is no difference. There's 2
Okay.
feet more on the going longer because they don't no longer make the 24-footer.
So perhaps let's make sure that the planning board is aware in this application of the variances. Maybe Liz, would you want to maybe just make, for the record, let's note what the variances are, and I'll ask Mr. Ferranti to discuss them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think for the record, I'll explain the variances that were granted in 2008, just to make it clear. So, excuse me, the board granted a hardship C1 variance based on the size of the yard for an 8-foot rear yard setback where 15 feet was required, and a 6-foot setback from the principal dwelling where 10 feet was required, and a lot coverage of 31%, where 30% was the maximum permitted. So that was approved in 2008. And what they need currently is similar variances. The maximum coverage is not quite 31%, it's a little bit over 30%, so there's a variance. The minimum rear yard setback is 7.7, and I think, and that's it, actually.
Okay, and so, and they were similar to what was last time.
That's right.
Mr. Ferranti, anything change in your property since that last approval?
No, nothing.
All right, so I think what we should do is maybe just for the record, let's get some proofs on the record about your request for these variances. I am looking at the survey of your property, and thank you for submitting that. And it looks like your home is on the cul-de-sac. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
All right, and part of the problem, or not necessarily problem, but one of the inherent situations when you're on the bulb of a cul-de-sac is that the right-of-way kind of comes in closer to your home. And sometimes that into itself causes a hardship that you have no control over. When it comes to the rear yard setback and the request from the standard, tell us why you need that relief.
I need the relief to get, because there is a, what do you call that?
Easement?
Easement on the left-hand side of the property. And the house, as you see in this picture, is set way back. So it's hard for me to have much of a yard based on that.
So essentially, if you were to conform to the standard, you would have no place to put your swimming pool.
I would have no place to
Combination of the rear of the easement with a combination of the fact that your home is on the cul-de-sac, maybe pushed your home a little bit closer to the rear property line. And I would think, unless anybody has an argument, that would kind of qualify you for that positive criteria that we need. On the other side, you need to make the proof of the negative criteria. Negative criteria in a case like this means that your proposal will not deter from the zone plan as in place. So in this case, you're in a residential zone, and so your addition of a swimming pool, we want to make sure that a swimming pool will not hurt a residential zone. So in your opinion, do you feel that your property, your project, will have a negative impact on the community?
It will not have a negative impact on the community. There are other people that do have pools in their backyard on my block. So if
So-
anything, it's gonna help out in the long run.
So a swimming pool in a residential neighborhood, for the record, is something that we're expecting to see.
That is correct.
You know, that sounds like the positive criteria has been met. I don't really see any other deviation, and although we have some great plans of the pool, I don't think we need to get into that. That's really not your expertise anyway, but thank you for supplying that. I don't have any questions for Mr. Ferranti. Does anybody else? Let me open it to the public. If anybody from the public has any questions for Mr. Ferranti on the testimony he gave, I see nothing from the public. Let's close it to the public, and let me entertain oh, I'm sorry. Sir, if you can, come up to the podium, you'll state your name.
Sir, are you gonna be just asking questions, or are you gonna be providing?
Just a question, one or two questions.
All right, you can direct.
Yeah,
We got
my
this-
name is Mark Petrozelli. I'm your neighbor. I live at 16 Apollo Way. I think maybe we met a few times. How far do you want to build into the easement?
There's none whatsoever. Easement's on the far left, the pool will be centered in the backyard. according to
Okay, the easement is where the woods are, right?
Nope. It's on my property,
Oh, it's on your property.
and also the woods.
Oh, okay, all right, so you plan to take a section of that?
No, not going on the easement whatsoever.
Oh, all right, okay, all right, so I just trying to figure out, we got notice, recently, so, and we're trying to,
Yeah, just for the record, Mr. Ferranti would not be allowed to build a swimming pool into the easement.
okay,
They would never be allowed to do that,
I see.
so.
I see. Yeah, because, I just had a question if that was public land or not, or that was not.
I do not own the public land, I would never build on it.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else from the public? Seeing none? I'll close it if I could breathe. If somebody on the planning board would please make a motion on the application that's in front of us.
I'll move it, 2605.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Brian, seconded by Bill. All right, any comments or questions? Seeing none, Sarah, roll call.
David Scapicchio?
Yes.
Brian Schaechter?
Yes.
Ken Forlenza?
Yes.
Catherine Natafalusy?
Yes.
William Galop?
Yes.
Jamie Shanaphy?
Yes.
Howie Weiss?
Yes. I think all we have to do now is, the process here, Mr. Ferranti, is that in about 30 days, our next meeting, shortly, you can get the copy of the resolution, and then you could take that resolution to the building department and get the permits. If there's any kind of hardship because of the timing, just reach out to Sarah, and we'll see if we can move some things up. It's a fairly simple resolution.
Okay.
But I'm sure the building department will work with you. And then the other thing perhaps is, you might want to leave with the planning administrator, get all of our email addresses for the pool party when it's open.
Count it,
You can get that from Sarah.
count it, all in.
This isn't true.
Of course, and with the record, that was sarcasm. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Good luck with the pool.
Thank you.
Oh, you want to? You don't have a copy? You do not, yeah. All right. Our next application is PB 26-01 Hunkele Equities LLC, preliminary and final site plan with a C variance for property located at 80 Flanders-Netcong Road, Block 4400, Lot 87. And before we start, I just want to state for the record that both Ken Forlenza and Jamie Shanaphy were not at the first meeting on April 16th, but both watched the tape of the meeting and are now eligible to vote on this application. So for the record, everyone sitting up here is eligible. We have Mr. Dwyer, welcome back. I just want to maybe review where we left off. It wasn't that long ago, but let's make sure we're all on the same page.
Okay.
And I want to just make sure that if we have any more exhibits, we are going to be on, the next exhibit is A2 was our last one.
Right, that's what I have, Mr. Chairman.
Perfect, so the next one, if you were to present one, would be A3.
Right.
And what I will do at this point is turn it over to you. I know we have just a couple of issues to review, and we'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pat Dwyer on behalf of Hunkele Equities. This property is 80 Flanders-Netcong Road, Block 4400, Lot 87. And you may recall, we're asking for a C variance in connection with site plan approval to build a warehouse building on this site. We were here last time. The board had some questions. We're going to try to answer them and give you the information you need to make a decision we hope in our favor. So without further ado, I'd like to call up our engineer.
Okay.
Brian Duddy.
Mr. Duddy was sworn in last time. He remains sworn in. Welcome back, Mr. Duddy. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yeah, okay, you can just, I want to just state, if I may, that we attempted to conform to all the ordinance requirements, but because of the shape of the lot, we had to put the building in a place, because the building envelope is so small, we needed a variance. We still need that variance. But there are some answers which the board had from last month, which we're going to, some questions which we're going to answer tonight. There was a meeting with Mr. Breland and the fire official. I don't believe we got anything in writing from him, but Mr. Breland and Brian can testify what happened at that meeting with him. So, Brian, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for having us tonight. Present the new exhibit here, I guess, the E3 will mark it.
Yes, A3, please.
So at the previous hearing, the main concern from the board that we received was really emergency access design.
Yep.
We have since had a meeting, like Mr. Dwyer said, with Mr. Breland, the board engineer, and Tyler Wargo, the director of fire and EMS. That meeting was held on April 29th, just a couple weeks ago. At this meeting, we had discussed potential emergency access and what was preferred by Mount Olive Emergency Services. So this exhibit here presents what was discussed and what was decided on at that meeting.
Brian, do you want to distribute this?
Yes, I do have a-
We have a big one, we're good.
Brian, is that a reduced copy of what we have in front of us?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we'll take that. Might be easier for us to work with. We don't need to mark that if it's the same. No change, right?
Yes. No change.
Okay, so we don't need to mark it.
I'm good. I already looked at the large one, so I'm okay.
We're good. I got the big one.
I'm good.
Big as
I'll
well.
share it here with the
I'll take one anyway.
attorney, then I'll leave you with this.
I'll share. Thank you. I have a large copy, you're good. Folding it up.
So this exhibit presents a couple items from the last hearing that were outstanding. First off, the widened entrance driveway off of Flanders-Netcong Road. That's been widened to 22 feet. site. Any issues at the site will be dealt with from the main circulation aisle in front. It'll then pull straight through to the existing cut-through driveway, or I guess we'll call it a cut-through access, to the adjacent lot 85. From there, they can circulate out the main driveway back onto Gold Mine Road. That's really the main access for these emergency vehicles. The area to the west of this emergency access drive will be delineated. It was discussed at the meeting that it'll be delineated with methods kind of to be determined, whether it's flagging. Jersey barrier might be a little too rigid for historic purposes that Mr. Hunkele has on site, but it will be delineated and will be kept clear and free and in good condition for the emergency vehicles. That's really the summary of the emergency access that's been discussed with the township. I'd like to open it if anybody has questions on that. If not, there's a couple other items shown on the plan.
Let me just ask, Mike, you were in part of that meeting, correct?
I was at that meeting, and the applicant had brought a slightly different proposal along with this one, and this was the preferred solution based on the discussions.
So this is an accurate representation of what happened at the meeting?
It appears to be consistent with what was presented
Fair
at the
enough.
meeting. I would just suggest that, final review be given to the fire department to confirm that.
I have a question.
Good, Bill.
Is there anything that's needed as far as easement between the two properties if the one is acting, okay, and we're addressing that, right? Because I think we discussed that the last one. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So there is a notation on the plan that says cross-access easement that will be conditioned of the approval.
Yes,
Great.
we agree. As Mr. Vreeland stated, we did originally provide a design where there was somewhat of a U-turn just west of the proposed driveway. Mr. Wargo said that wasn't ideal. He suggested this, so this is what we conform to. Additionally, so that's really the main concern I think we took from the last meeting. A couple other items shown on here is the no right turn sign at the end of the driveway. Like I said, the widened driveway, the cross-access easements, the delineation of the storage and the emergency access here, and the building and parking depicted on here is the most updated, coordinated with the architectural plans. Those are the biggest items. As we have.
There was one other one, was show the proposed sign in the plans. How's that going to be handled, Brian?
The proposed sign will be part of the final plan submitted. The building sign will conform to all township ordinance requirements, so.
Okay, and the ADA spaces?
Yes, and in the last meeting, we did distribute the ADA spaces along the building. We flipped them to the other side, on the south side of the parking lot, and provided crosswalks. That's just a better layout for the operations that we have like right up against the building.
And did you, maybe I missed it, did you say you were moving the gate as well?
And the applicant, last time I believe, provided testimony that the gate will be removed, so all that will be updated on the final plan submitted.
That's all I had.
Brian, I have a question for you. When I look at the plan, and I'm looking at, on the new addition, the westernmost, that southwestern portion of the travel lane that you're designing, and as it crosses over to the other property, so take a look, kind of right where the drawing of the truck is on the map. I only have a concern that, when I'm looking at this picture, and maybe this is a great example, there is a lot of parked vehicles, and I'm sure those are the vehicles that are being worked on. So do we have to be concerned that that area won't be overloaded with vehicles? Is there something in place that we could make sure that that doesn't get too clogged with vehicles? Because in the event of a fire, I'm looking, that just about enough room, but if you start parking extra cars there, then car can't get by it. We have to make sure, and I know it's not this property, but Mr. Hunkele, I know right now you're on both of them. We have to make sure that that corner of your parking lot doesn't get overcrowded.
Yeah,
About widen, can we widen the cross easement? Can we widen the cross easement?
Or else,
Or
what you
else-
could do, I think, to address the chairman's concern, is that you could put a no parking hashing
Yeah.
in that area.
Strike that area, no parking. Because you're right, Mr. Chair, it is tight, and the vehicles shown here aren't the most efficiently parked. But I think in that corner, you could put some striping.
That's the vehicles that are waiting to be upfitted first
Yeah,
priority.
I think that makes good common sense, and we'll just leave that, I guess we really can't mandate that this application,
No, you can.
oh, we can.
Yeah, we'll make that a condition.
Okay, so we're gonna go no parking, hash, painting. I don't know. Oh, hold on one second. Walter?
Yeah, just going back to my initial or my only memo on this one. It's an off-site improvement, stop sign on Flanders-Netcong Road at Mine Road, there isn't one there today.
I can make,
You put that in? Also, I assume now that the access road is gonna be paved, you're gonna put a center line down that road, correct?
To the west of the property?
Going out to Flanders-Netcong Road.
Yes, the main entrance drive, yes, and that's where
That's gonna be paved, and we'll need a center line there too?
correct. Yes, and that was per your letter, yes, so we will do that.
Okay, good.
Anything else on your report, Walt?
No, that's, everything was, everything's covered.
Okay.
I think I discussed it a little bit. Is there a possibility on that adjacent property to get like no lefts for truck traffic or something? Is that, okay, cool.
The applicant would be agreeable to that, yes.
You mean on Gold Mine Road?
Yeah, coming out of Gold Mine, yeah.
But that's,
I don't think many trucks are gonna make lefts there based on the curvature of that road. It's our suggestion you go to right, but sometimes,
isn't it just emergency access in there?
no, the other business operates through there. If
Oh,
anything
yeah.
circulates, just,
Okay.
it's a feel-good sign.
Okay. I made a note of that too.
Well, the Amazon trucks don't make a left turn over there usually.
No.
They go to the Link Road. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
The fire official had no comment to the back of the building, access to the back of the building, 5 feet.
He did make one comment, that was a positive comment. He actually said that on the adjacent site here, they would be able to address any issues on the backside of this building. That's something that we can confirm with Tyler, that that was discussed. Their equipment can park in the rear of the adjacent building and be able to reach the proposed building. I'm not an expert on what the equipment is, but he said that that was possible. Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't raised as a concern. He felt that the equipment that they have can address it from both sides.
And that was also part of, we originally had this exhibit showing going around the north side of that adjacent building, but we showed it coming here because of that comment.
Oh, perfect. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Duddy? Brian, you have anything else?
No, I think that should be it for testimony.
And Mike, you're anything for Brian? Let me open it to the public. If anybody from the public has any questions for Mr. Duddy based on the testimony he presented this evening, and I see none, so close it to the public. Brian, thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
Pat, back to you.
We don't have any other witnesses, Mr. Chairman.
Good.
We hope that we provided all the answers to the questions the board had.
I think that's what we were waiting for. Nicely done, too. So, if anybody else has any questions for Mr. Dwyer about the application, one more time, I'll open it to the public. If anybody from the public has any comments about any portion of this application, now is a good time to just give an opinion. And I see none, so I'll close it to the public. We have, and before we ask for a motion, we have a couple of conditions. Now, some of them have been achieved, so I don't want to be repetitive. I'm looking at some of my early conditions. They've been met through tonight's testimony. The first one has been, the second one. The first condition that I still see is you'll need a Highlands exemption number 4. Do we make that a condition? Okay, so that's there. And then, really, the rest of the conditions came up tonight. So first one is the final approval of the plan will be needed by the fire department. It looks like you're using Tyler Wargo, so we'll give Tyler another opportunity to look at it and make sure he gets his approval. We are going to need, as a condition, cross-access easement that we've already spoken about. Whether it's a condition, I think it should be a condition, there'll be no right turn onto Flanders-Netcong Road. The gate will be removed. You are going to add some no parking hash marks on the neighboring property in that area that we discussed on that southwestern corner. There'll be a stop sign, but Bill, I didn't, Good.
So, Walt, you're talking about a stop sign on Flanders-Netcong coming out to Goldmine,
Right,
correct?
there isn't one there today.
I'm thinking that it would probably be more appropriate for me to handle that on the town side. This way, if it needs to be codified with ordinance or anything, and it is a township road, so.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll take that out.
We can take care of that.
Okay, so we won't make that a condition. Just a couple other ones. The center lane on the main access will be striped per Walter's report, as we talked about. And then, as Bill Galop said, no left turn onto Goldmine Road. I have nothing else, Jim. I don't know if you have.
Delineation of the outdoor storage.
Okay, I missed that. Thanks, Mike. So, and we'll delineate, that's also just to make sure that's on the subject property towards the west, correct? That's where they were gonna put, okay,
That'll help make sure that the emergency access lane remains open.
excellent, okay. No problem with that? Okay. And that's all I have. So any motion to approve would include those conditions. And that being said, especially Jim, you have none. Does anybody else have any? Then let me entertain a motion with those conditions. Thank you, Brian.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments? Questions, concerns? Seeing none? Sarah, roll call, please.
David Scapicchio,
Yes.
Brian Schaechter,
Yes.
Ken Forlenza,
Yes.
Catherine Natafalusy,
Yes.
William Galop,
Yes.
Jamie Shanaphy,
Yes.
Howie Weiss.
Yes. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you. Always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
So I don't think we need a break, but I know that for the next application, the stenographer had asked for a little time to set up. So go ahead and you can start. If anybody needs to take a little break, I will, we're good? All right, we'll just give the stenographer a couple minutes. Take your time. So, of course, go ahead. I won't start until you come back. That's fine. I don't know. It records. Oh. See if they need any. Take the throw. Mr. Dwyer, you need extra copies?
They can always use them.
Yeah, these are your plans. Might be some extra stuff in there, but, maybe some of my notes, but you could, that's fine, I don't need them. Thank you. You're welcome.
I was gonna say, you're the fastest one. Oh, yeah. Well, they're very efficient. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Sorry, you. Oh, thank you. Yeah,
So,
we may not need it.
my youngest,
Oh, sure.
lucky number
Yeah.
two. as you're ready, you'll let me know.
I think we're ready. They're not up for a little while, so they can get their exhibits
Okay.
ready while we get this going. I don't
Okay,
wanna
guys,
waste
let's,
your time.
I never went into a break, so we're ready to continue. Let me introduce the next application. It is PB 26-04. Ingerman Development Company for a minor subdivision and preliminary major site plan located at 3100 Continental Drive, Block 301, Lot 4. Certainly, we have been discussing Block 301, Lot 4 for a little bit. So welcome, everybody. Let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Perfect.
Looking for, hear me okay? Great. So I'm Kate Coffey from Day Pitney. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Ingerman Development Company LLC. As the chairman indicated, we're here for preliminary major site plan and minor subdivision approval. The reason why it's preliminary only is because this project is anticipated to be financed using HMFA tax credits for low-income housing developments. And we are required to submit a preliminary site plan approval before they decide whether to award us those tax credits. So if we are successful on the tax credit front, we will be back to you seeking final site plan approval. And so I wanted to say we recognize that these plans are still in preliminary shape, and we expect that there will be requirements from your professionals and the board in terms of things that need to get firmed up before we return to you for final site plan approval. We are seeking some relief from your ordinance. We are seeking a variance from section 550-82A 1 through 5, which is to permit retaining walls and height in excess of what's permitted. You'll hear from our engineer, who is also our planner, that the reason why we're seeking that variance is due to the site constraints, grading concerns that are impediment to the property in order to, at the same time, accomplish the affordable housing that the municipality has planned for. We're also seeking a waiver with respect to the location of our ground sign. You'll hear that there's a requirement of a 10-foot setback, and we're proposing 4 feet so that the sign can be visible to the traveling public. Also, as the chairman indicated, we are talking about Block 301, Lot 4, which it sounds like everybody's already been doing some talking about. The street address is 3100 Continental Drive. The property is 57.5 acres. The property is currently owned by the Township of Mount Olive, and Ingerman is the designated redeveloper of the property. The property is subject to your 3100 Continental Drive redevelopment overlay district, which was adopted by the Township Council earlier this year, as well as the 3100 Continental Drive redevelopment plan. And this property has been identified in your 2025 housing element and fair share plan, which was adopted around this time last year, as one of the mechanisms by which the township is going to be meeting its 4th round affordable housing obligation. Let's see. I will add that on May 1st of this year, the council for the Township of Mount Olive entered into an affordable housing agreement with Ingerman, which designates that the property for this phase is to be developed with 72 family affordable units as well as 48 supportive affordable units. Okay.
Wait, 48, go back, 48, what kind of units?
Supportive affordable units.
What does that mean?
It's folks that are considered to have special needs. I can give you more information if you'd like.
No, I just never heard that word.
That's how the language that the HMFA uses. So it's folks that require supportive services, and typically those are coordinated via Ingerman, which is the property owner, to make sure that those services are available to those folks.
And the township still gets the credit for that?
They do.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the most important thing is that they're all affordable, which they all are. And in a few minutes, I'll get into both the bedroom distribution and the income distribution, just so everybody can be assured that we're meeting the uniform housing affordability controls, which, as you know, is one of the requirements on the town in order to qualify for the credits.
So, I mean, simple math, it's 120 units.
120 total, you got it. Exactly right. There's a minor subdivision that's being proposed as part of this application. We're proposing to subdivide the property into 3 lots. There's proposed lot 1, which is about about 14.93 acres. That's where the 120 units are being proposed to be constructed. There's proposed Lot 2, which is approximately 6.33 acres. Proposed Lot 2 has been, I'd say, earmarked by the township as a location for a future affordable housing development that's not being proposed tonight. The township is going to retain ownership of that proposed Lot 2, and we would only be back to you for a site plan to develop that if the township directed us to pursue that second phase of affordable housing. But again, no improvements proposed on that proposed Lot 2 as part of this application. And then the remainder lot, which we've still been calling Lot 4 because the mother lot is Lot 4, would be at 36.24 acres. As you said, preliminary major site plan approval for a 100% affordable multifamily development, total of 120 units. You probably saw in your planner's memorandum that we've broken them again into these two phases. The reason for that is that we're pursuing two different HMFA funding sources, one that's available for the 72 family units and one that's available for the supportive units. The expectation is that, assuming they receive tax credits at the same time, they both be built simultaneously, and that the applicant would create what we call a commercial condominium, so there could be separate funding structures for the two components of the project, but it would still all be that same proposed Lot 1. All of the units are going to be subject to affordability controls, again, that could comply both with the uniform housing affordability controls as well as HMFA's requirements. Let's see, so what the specifics of what's being proposed is a total of 6 buildings. I'm going to get to the bedroom distribution now. So in the 72 unit component, which is the family affordable units, we have 2 buildings that are proposed to contain 12 units. Those are going to, you may have seen them on our plans as buildings 1 and 2, and we'll have exhibits up to show you guys soon. The bedroom distribution for building 1, I know this is important to your planner, is 6 2-bedroom units and 6 3-bedroom units. Building 2 is again another 12-unit building, 6 2-bedroom units, 6 3-bedroom units. Buildings 3 and 4 are each 24 units total, and the breakdown there in building 3 is 3 1-bedroom units, 15 2-bedroom units, and 6 3-bedroom units. And then building 4 is 15 1-bedroom units, 3 2-bedroom units, and 6 3-bedroom units. On the 48-unit side, there are 2 buildings that comprise those 48 units. Each of them are 24 units, and the bedroom distribution in each of those buildings is identical. So each of them have 3 1-bedroom units, 15 2-bedroom units, and 6 3-bedroom units. So the grand total for bedroom distribution, which I'm going to go over because it's important to you for meeting your uniform housing affordability controls, and I know it's important to your planner, is the total of 1-bedroom units is 24 1-bedroom units. The total of 2-bedroom units is 60 2-bedroom units.
How many?
60.
Okay.
And the total of 3-bedroom units is 36 3-bedroom units. And again, that gets you to the grand total of 120. Let me take a sip of water, hang on. This is my 3rd hearing this week, so I'm a little talked out.
That's all right.
Okay. On the income distribution side, and this, your planner had comments on this in her memorandum. So as is required, half of the proposed units are for very low and low income households, and the other half are for moderate income households. We do have at least 13% of our units at that very low income number. Now, I'm giving you more numbers, so everyone buckle up. So first, with regard to the income distribution, I'll go over the overall income distribution numbers, and if you want them broken out by phases, let me know. I have the data, but I don't want to bore everybody to tears either. So on the very low income side, there's a total of 20 units. Low income is 40, and moderate income is 60. I also have that broken out by unit type, if that's helpful. So of the, again, bear with me. For the very low incomes, we have 6 1-bedrooms, 10 2-bedrooms, and 4 3-bedrooms, so that gets you to your total of 20 very low-income units. For low income, we have 6 1-bedroom, 22 bedroom, and 14 3-bedroom, gets you to a total of 40 low-income units. For moderate income, we have 12 1-bedroom units, 30 2-bedroom units, and 18 3-bedroom units, which is a total of 60 moderate income units. And again, that has the split as well between each unit type to make sure that we have, for each of the different bedroom types, half of them are moderate income and half of them are very low and low income, which is again consistent with the requirements that are in your plan or are in the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls. Okay, so in addition to the residential buildings, the applicant is also proposing to construct an approximately 2,620 square foot 1-story community building, as well as a 2,900 square foot community recreation area. The community building is going to include a community room, management office, a fitness area, restrooms, storage, and ancillary space, and then there'll be outdoor space as well. We're proposing a total of 267 surface parking spaces, which does exceed the residential site improvement standard requirements. We also meet the residential site improvement standard requirements with respect to accessible parking spaces, ADA spaces. We're proposing 23, where 8 is required. We also meet the electric vehicle requirements, which I know everybody's grappling with these days. So we're proposing 37 EV make-ready spaces, and 36 are required. And then 3 of the ADA spaces, meaning accessible spaces, are also electric vehicle spaces. So all of that complies with the residential site improvement standards. You'll hear more from our engineer, but the spaces are allocated between the 2 components. So 199 spaces are associated with the 72 family affordable units, and 68 parking spaces are associated with the affordable supportive units. Okay. With me this evening, we have Kelly Osech of AKRF. He's the project engineer as well as the project planner. He's going to be giving an overview of the property's location, its current conditions, what's being proposed as part of the project, as well as the variance and waiver that the applicant is requesting and the justification for that relief. And then we also have Julie Diston of WRT Design. She's the project architect, and she's going to be going over the architectural features of the buildings that are proposed. I think with that, you're probably sick of hearing from me anyway. I'd like to ask that Mr. Osech join me and be sworn, please.
Okay, before we do that,
Yeah.
maybe now's a good time to ask. I know one of the things that we discussed, and I don't know if there's ever been a resolution or it's still in the works, which was, was there an approval to consider a mixed use? I know we threw out the concept of putting in a retail element into this project.
So my understanding is that and Ms. Laney may be able to better counsel you. My understanding is that your zoning does permit a retail component to be included, but a 100% affordable development is also permitted by your zoning and your redevelopment plan.
So I don't know, maybe Liz, you know, or Jim, you know, wasn't it more of a state approval because of the, did we need state approval to put up a mixed use because housing was on the table and then we wanted to consider some kind of retail?
Well, I think if you're talking about the prior restraints that were on the property,
Yeah.
by deed restrictions going way back when, that is still in the works. That is still, I think, with the DEP in a comment period, and then it's gonna go to the State House Committee. But I'm not familiar with any type of limitation, and I've not been informed of any type of limitation that for this application would require a mixed use. As a matter of fact, I believe that for our 4th round affordable housing, not only is the 100% affordable what we're looking for from a township perspective, but also with the addition of the supportive housing and family housing, I think that the township has a better position in affordable housing.
And I think part of some of the discussions that we had with the administration and internally was that, you know, this is the first phase, and there's gonna be some property that's held back by the township that may support some kind of mixed use.
Is the township gonna retain that property?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's something that, not necessarily what you're bringing us tonight, but Catherine, am I right? We had this conversation about.
Well,
in
we
committee?
also had the conversation when BASF was still owning, or, you know, there. We talked about having retail and, you know, live, or that kind of thing.
Okay, so Kate, I'm completely okay with you going forward. This was something that we'll keep in the back pocket for future consideration if it's possible.
Appreciate it, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. Thank you. And I will just add, with regard to his kind of historic DEP restrictions on the property that Mr. Bryce brought up, we are working quite closely with the DEP. They're aware of the application and they're aware of the proposed use. And they're on kind of a separate parallel track to the planning board process, but they're certainly aware of the proposal for 100% affordable on this parcel.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Osuch,
Yes.
we need you to get sworn.
Sir, if you'd raise your right hand, thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last for the record.
Kelly Osuch, O''S-U-C-H.
Thank you.
Mr. Osuch, can you start by introducing yourself to the board and the public, please, and telling them about your experience and credentials?
Sure. Kelly Osuch, I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey. I work at the engineering firm AKRF out of 140 West Main Street in High Bridge, New Jersey. I graduated from Virginia Tech in 2012, and since 2012 I've been practicing civil engineering in the state of New Jersey on site plans, subdivisions, and similar land development applications as this. In addition to that, in 2022, I obtained a professional planning license, and I'm also a professional planner and have testified as a planner to various land use boards such as this on variance relief and design waiver relief, similar to what I'll be seeking tonight.
And your engineering and your planning licenses both remain in good standing?
Yes.
Thank you. We'd ask that Mr. Osuch be accepted as a civil engineer and a professional planner, please.
I don't have any questions for Mr. Osuch. Anybody? Liz or Mike, have questions?
No.
Well, Mr. Osuch, welcome to Mount Olive, and we certainly will accept you as the expert engineer and planner for this application.
Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so Mr. Osuch, I think probably it's a good idea to get started just orienting everybody to the property and reminding them of the existing conditions, please.
Sure. So I have two plans that are part of the plan set, so I don't think I need to mark them, but I have 11 by 17s if members of the board like to look at them.
And Mr. Osuch, were the colorized versions
Yes.
submitted? Okay, good. Thank you.
So the first sheet I'll be referring to is sheet 3 of 32, which is entitled Pre-Development Site Aerial. And the second plan is sheet 4, entitled Existing Constraints Plan. And they are both dated April 17th, 2026. So on the left here is sheet 3. Just orienting with the way there's existing aerial imagery, which is recent. Sorry.
You're good. I got this one. Thank you.
North is plan up, west is to the left, east is to the right, south is to the bottom. Subject property, block 301, lot 4 is in the center of the site, outlined with the solid blue line. And there's a 200-foot line for the neighboring properties or joiners that is attached to buildings. And as you can see, the property is pretty isolated, I'll call it. Not a lot of neighbors around it. Continental Drive is to the north. To the west and south is kind of state open land, owned by DEP. Further to the south is Route 80. To the east is the former BASF property, which is now an Amazon warehouse. And then again, Continental Drive to the north and more state open land. So again, kind of in the middle of nowhere, for lack of a better term. Moving on to sheet 4, the existing constraints plan. This is kind of a blow-up of that property with more of an engineering layout of the existing conditions. So the property is 57.5 acres. It's vacant, undeveloped, and parcel addition to that, Kate noted as well, there's some legal constraints from deed restrictions on the property. So specifically, there's a 50-foot wide buffer along the front where the state has a buffer to provide screening along the property. In addition to that, there's this trapezoidal shape along the northwestern portion of the property, deeded as a no access zone. And then throughout the overall property, there's a deed restriction on the use. The use is for no residential, and I believe it's office and industrial use was the intended use. And as Ms. Coffey noted, we are working with the state currently to lift those restrictions to move forward with the development. So I'll move on to sheet 6 of 30, which is the minor subdivision plan. I did not put 11/7 data for the dates within the set. I just want to kind of orient the board and spell out what Ms. Coffey was kind of noting on the. So the northwestern portion of the property is what we are designating as lot 1. And that would be 14.93 acres, and that would be the subject of where the 120-unit development will take place. We have it labeled kind of a light pink color on this plan. To the south of that, also along the western boundary, is what we're calling proposed lot 2. That would be for future affordable housing development, built off of this for another 60 units likely. And that is 6.33 acres. And then this yellowish green is the remainder of 57.5 acres, which is proposed at 36.24 acres. And we're calling that, or labeling it as remaining lot 4. All the lot numbering would have to go before the tax assessor and get properly named, but we would do that as a condition of approval. And then as Ms. Coffey also noted, we have a line running through here of the proposed condo breakdown of the property. So the western portion of lot 1 with the 6 building lots that are shown in here would be phase 1A, we're calling it, or condo lot 1A. And then the inside here, these 2 last buildings would be condo lot 1B or phase 2 of this application. Yeah, please. Okay, so this has not been submitted. This is a colored site rendering from my office. It's entitled Proposed Site Conditions Exhibit, dated May 14th, 2026. What they want.
That would be labeled as A1.
The purpose of this exhibit is to try to illustrate the proposed development on that block. So again, orientation north is straight up to the property, east is to the right, west to the left, south. So just from a high level perspective here, from zoning and bulk compliance with the redevelopment plan, the lot area and density is compliant. The setbacks for all the structures are compliant. The building height, building spacing, lot and building coverage are all compliant. We are seeking minimal bulk variance relief, and 1 design waiver. And the design waiver is for the monument signage, which is along the frontage of the property, and the retaining wall height is the C variance, which is along this western portion of the property. And I'll get into more details about that in a little bit. Site layout. The proposed access point is along Continental Drive. The site is designed with a boulevard-style access with 20-foot wide ingress lane and a 20-foot wide egress lane back out to 24 one-bedroom units, 60 two-bedroom units, 36 three-bedroom units. And per the RSI's requirements, those bedroom breakdowns require 239 stalls on the property. As we have the site design, we are proposing 267 parking stalls, so 28 spaces above the minimum. And kind of the idea of giving a little bit more than what RSIS is required is going back to kind of where we're located in the township. We're kind of isolated. We're not really in the middle of the town center. So we don't want to have cars just kind of parked on top of each other. If there's guests coming to the property, we want to have a few extra stalls to allow that. Accessible stalls, ADA stalls, technically we're required to only have 8. However, we're proposing 23, and we've laid them out so that there's a few stalls located in front of each of the buildings, each of the apartment buildings, as well as near the community building, to provide ADA access directly from the parking stalls into the various apartment structures and the community building. In addition to that, the EV make-ready requirement is 36 stalls, and we are providing 37. And they are generally provided along the, near the green space in the center of the property. Site amenities, we're dedicating, saving an area on the property for a community recreation area. The actual details of that recreation area we haven't quite figured out. It could be a tot lot, it could be a dog park, it could be a mixture of a few different things, but that would be one of the items that we kind of work through, assuming we get the financing and we come back before the board before final. We would work through that information. In addition to the recreation area, to the south of that area is a centralized trash enclosure area. That trash enclosure is enclosed with a 6-foot-high masonry block wall. We believe that that masonry block wall meets the requirements of the ordinance section 550-33G5, which requires screening of the trash enclosure areas. In addition to just the masonry enclosure, we are proposing to put a landscaping around that to kind of soften the masonry enclosure as well. Mailboxes on the property, we don't have centralized location identified yet, but the idea is to have a few different ganged mailboxes kind of spread out around the property, and that would be coordinated with the postmaster as a condition of approval to make sure we locate it where they think is appropriate. All right, so site signage. We are proposing a monument sign along the frontage. Again, we have that boulevard entrance, so the idea is to place the site sign kind of in the green space in the middle of that boulevard entrance. Where we have the sign located currently, it is 5.04 feet off of the quote-unquote right-of-way line. But as you can kind of see in this image, the right-of-way line is set back pretty far from the actual physical roadway of Continental Drive. So while it's 5.04 feet off the property line, it's closer to 40 feet off of the physical roadway. The sign is proposed at 15 square feet, where 30 square feet is allowed, so it's about half the size of what we could provide. So we think the location and the wayfinding nature of the site identification sign, that this is the appropriate location and there would be really no detriment to that minor deviation proposed as part of where we're locating that sign. And again, it's an identification sign for the general public as well as emergency vehicles, so there is a site safety aspect to providing that sign closer to the road and further away from the road.
And just before we move away from the sign, that sign's proposed to be backlit, correct?
That is correct. Building identification signage. Each apartment building will have a numbered sign for both postmaster and emergency access. going back to kind of just existing constraints plans before, I kind of noted that the topography on the site, there's a high point in the center, and then everything falls off in every direction off of the center. So in our proposed grading scenario, we've kind of located the central portion of the property within that high point and have utilized that grading to try to mimic the proposed site design. So the green will be close to the high point on the property, and then the grade will fall off as you go to the west and to the east, as well as to the south, mimicking the existing drainage patterns. Again, going back to the existing constraints, along this western property boundary, you can see there are some steep slopes. That steep slope is, we're trying to avoid it as much as possible, and in doing that, we are proposing a retaining wall along this western boundary of the parking area, which coincides with the two buildings, 3 and 4. And portions of that retaining wall do get up to 17 feet high. Above the wall, we also are proposing a 4-foot high posted rail fence for fall protection. So by the ordinance definition, that's a 21-foot high wall. The way that this site is designed, though, while it's a 17-foot high face, the face is facing out. It's looking into the, what I'll call the abyss, for lack of a better term right now, in just a wooded area that no real general public's gonna see unless they go hiking in the state land. So the residents won't be able to see it. People driving down Continental Drive really will not be able to see the 17-foot high wall. So we are seeking relief. I think the relief, you could argue both a C1 and a C2 on this. From a C1 perspective, I think it's very clear that the site is environmentally constrained, legally constrained, and we are trying to work within the limits of what we have. So I think if you're, if we went beyond the constraints here, we're just unnecessarily clearing out more trees, impacting steeper slopes more than we need to. And so from a C1 perspective, I think the unique shape, the site topography, do create a hardship from strict compliance of following the ordinance. From a C2 perspective, I do think there's purposes of the MLUL that are advanced, specifically purpose B, promotes health and safety because we are providing, safety fence, and it allows for the ADA access to be provided on some of these parking areas at the lower portions of the buildings that we're proposing. It allows for safe circulation through the property. Otherwise, part of this building and access would have to be revised. Purpose C, I think, is advanced as well. Kind of, again, preserve some open space. There's a lot of trees in this portion that we're not touching. There's state regulated areas along the southern portion that we're trying to avoid. So strict compliance of the ordinance and terracing of the retaining walls, we start to kind of spread out this development and start disturbing state regulated areas as well as clearing trees that don't need to be cleared.
I don't mean to interrupt, but do you know approximately how far that wall is from the property line?
Get that for you. So it's approximately 93 feet. The lot line's on an angle and the retaining wall is kind of moving around, but it's plus or minus 93 feet off of,
More than 90 feet?
more than 90 feet, yes.
Thank you.
Here. And then I guess for the negative criteria, does the requested variance, rise to a level of substantial detriment? No. The redevelopment plan expressly contemplates flexibility with site features like walls and fences. It requires setbacks along the property line. So I think it's proposing bioretention basins that are surface basins along the two east and west areas. And then there's a subsurface basin along the front end of the building, as well as a couple of treatment devices before the site exits out onto Continental Drive. So from a quantity, quality, and recharge perspective, all three standards are met. We reduce the peak runoff for quantity. We provide 80% CSS removal for quality through the GI devices, and we infiltrate more than enough to satisfy the deficit proposed by the additional impervious on the property to meet the recharge requirements. Utilities, we're proposing to have all public utilities. We will have water coming in, looping around the development, and coming back out. The water is going to be supplied by New Jersey American. We have had some preliminary talks with them. It seems we're going to need a hot box along the front edge of the property. That hot box is above ground, and the way the plans are currently depicted, we didn't necessarily screen it. So we would work with the planner and New Jersey.
What is a hot box?
It's basically a big metal cabinet that the meters are in for the water company to come out and service the water equipment coming in. So we would add additional landscaping around that box to kind of hide it from the general public on Continental Drive. Sewer, we're anticipating the need of a sanitary pump station. That hasn't been designed. It would be designed as a condition of approval. It will likely be designed by somebody, not me, not AKRF. And that would, we would work with the sewer authority and the sewer department on the design of that sewer pump station.
Do you have to purchase EDUs?
We do.
Do you know how many?
Not yet, or at least I don't know.
Don't have that.
Excuse me?
Is that HMUA?
No, it's the Musconetcong Sewer Authority, but
Yeah.
Mount Olive controls conveyance within the municipality. So Musconetcong Sewer treats it, but Mount Olive
Yep.
gets the water too, or wastewater.
So you're gonna purchase, you just don't know how many as of today?
As of right now, I do.
Okay, fair enough.
What's the public sewer?
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, just to interrupt you, so the applicant did submit a will serve request. We've not received it back yet, but we have submitted it.
To the
so-
township?
to
Yes.
the township. And then the remaining would be gas, electric, telephone, and cable that would also kind of loop through the property. Each building will have dedicated utility services kind of coming off of that main loop, circling through and tying into the building. Each building will be sprinklered, so there'll be a dedicated fire line going into each of the structures. Speaking of fires, we have fire hydrants located around the property. The fire marshal had a comment about potentially adding another fire hydrant close to this anticipated sanitary sewer pump station. We certainly could add an additional hydrant at front door. Landscaping, I think this image does a pretty good job of kind of illustrating what we're proposing here as far as landscaping. We have the natural buffer of the trees to the north and west, and we're just trying to supplement that. We're saving as much as we can on our property, and then just kind of filling the gaps around with some perimeter landscaping on our property, as well as some nice tree-lined canopy trees and softening up of the green space in the middle of the property. That's pretty much the landscaping. Lighting, lighting design is basically designed to provide safe vehicular and pedestrian visibility throughout the property. We've illuminated the access path, the drive paths, as well as all the pedestrian walkways throughout the property adequately.
turn to the memoranda that we received from your professionals, or pause here to see if there's questions so far?
Well, I think if the planning board had any questions, they would certainly let us know.
Okay.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead,
I didn't
Bill.
want to interrupt, I was gonna let you go, and they're kind of just forward-thinking, right? I know that phase two is contingent on tax credits and all that, but I'm just curious, do you have a plan in mind as for building numbers and extend, are you just gonna extend that loop to feed to them, or?
If I had a crystal ball and I
Yep.
had to guess what was gonna happen, that this loop would kind of continue through and move through and tie that. So this cross would still exist, but then there'd be a continuation, and then there would likely be 4 or 5 additional buildings kind of circling around that.
Okay, okay.
Again, not part of this application, but that's,
Yes.
if I had to guess, that's.
Because I'm just thinking, access, and then I'm thinking emergency services, the building numbering, which obviously something could be worked out later. but-
Right, and if we can certainly.
Yeah, so,
I will note that we provide truck turning movements for the largest fire truck vehicle. It can
Yep.
circulate the design as it currently,
David, you had a question?
I do. The memorandum from Phillips Prius dated May 11th, item number 15. Is there any reason why you can't stack that retaining wall?
Yeah, I tried to explain it a little bit, but we have the steep slopes here, and we have the regulated areas on the eastern portion. So we're trying to fit the site within those areas and try to minimize the impacts to those steep slopes and the regulated areas. If we had to start terracing this wall, development starts pushing further and further to the east, and then likely starts impacting state regulated areas.
Could you do any kind of a terrace that would not impact that?
We could probably do some type of a terrace, but we believe that the one retaining wall is really the correct solution in this particular case. Again, we're trying to minimize the amount of disturbance.
what was the height on that wall?
The highest point it gets up to 17 feet. 17. And then there's a 4-foot high fence above that.
Yeah.
Central garbage. I mean, you've got, low, very low income folks, which means you might get a lot of retired people. Don't you think that's a bit of a haul for them to, if you're in one of the first two
Yeah,
units?
I think it kind of makes sense to kind of keep everything centralized. We're gonna have a private hauler that's coming through and servicing the facility. It kind of centralizes where they're picking everything up. But if it was a big concern, I think this is something we could certainly work with the planner and.
No, I think we should probably do them at every building.
I don't know,
An area
every building,
dumpster.
but maybe
A
at the end
dumpster.
of like these,
In the
parking areas, we could put something.
And let me, if I may, so this is Mr. Long, who's with the applicant.
Right.
Would it make sense for him to talk about what they typically see in terms of trash removal now while the question is
Let's
pending?
continue with the witness.
Okay,
just to
all right,
keep
you come
it-
back to it.
Yeah, we can talk. And my next question is 37 spots for electric vehicles on very low and low moderate peak. I mean,
That's a state reg. And we, that was.
it is ridiculous.
It's government.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
It is wasted parking spots.
7 is wasted.
And
And a
wasted
lot of
expense.
electrical,
Yeah.
a lot of electrical wire.
Mr. Such, I have a question. You talked about having the split entrance coming in and kind of a loop road. From a street perspective, how many different roads, do you still propose just one road as a loop in and out?
Yeah, so it's a private drive, it's not a road by any means, but yes, there's only one permitted ingress and egress.
It's going to need a name, and the question is,
It'll be an address, right, and then within that address, there'll be building numbers beyond just the address.
so are you suggesting that the address might be 3100 Continental Drive, Apartment 2, build?
Suite 5, yeah.
Okay, so then this, do we need I'm just curious from a safety position, do we need a name for the road?
I think the road should have a name, right? However, from a safety standpoint, I think it always makes sense, building number, apartment number. So that's why I was concerned about the building numbering, is for ease of finding
Yeah, of course.
everything. Because I was kind of thinking, odd numbers one side, even numbers on the other side, because that's how other complexes do it. It kind of makes it simplified. I don't know. That's
Bill,
something that
I'm
could be worked out
sure
later, but
that could be worked out in conference
Yes.
with our safety.
But I think
But-
he's
but the
talking
question
about
still
having a road
remains.
name.
it should still have a road name.
It-
Yeah, whether that's,
Go ahead.
I spoke with the applicant. What they typically do in these situations is they'll work with the township committee. They'll submit a few types of, or a few names or potential names for that access drive. And the township committee can accept it.
No, well, that's okay. What we'll do is we'll present you a couple of different names. And then we'll go that way.
That works too.
So, and I, listen, I don't want to make light of it. In Mount Olive, we've been naming streets after veterans, so it's not going to be Howie Drive. It would be, we have a committee, and that committee works very closely with the historical committee, and we will present to you. And my question ultimately is, how many do you present? Do you project one? Okay, that was, so then what we'll do is we'll come back at some point, and then we can fine tune the addresses based off of the street name. Okay.
All right, maybe it makes sense to get into the professional review.
Yeah, I
memos
think
at
that's
this point?
perfect.
Okay,
And I know David brought up Liz's report.
yep.
So why don't we start, because we're there, let's continue with the planner's report. And I don't know, Liz, did you want to jump in? And let's have Liz talk about the concerns of hers, and you know, Mr. Osuch, you can answer. Go ahead, Liz.
Okay, thank you. Good, because a lot of the questions were answered in your direct testimony, so I'm just gonna skip around. But one question, I didn't realize that you were doing supportive housing for the 48 units. Do you, have you figured out which buildings the supportive housing would be in?
Yeah, so the idea, again, it's based on the condo, is these two, which would be phase 1B as we're calling it, would be
Okay.
the 48 units.
These two. Okay.
The units on the bottom.
Yeah, so it's building 5 and 6 is what
Okay.
it's labeling.
And do you have a potential operator in mind? And the reason I'm asking
gonna ask
is,
that.
he's gonna ask, okay, because the reason I'm asking is because you don't often see 3-bedroom supportive housing, so, well,
I'll jump in and then Mr. Long can cover in more detail. So within what we're calling the 48 supportive housing units, only 10 of them will actually be supportive housing, and it's a mix of supportive and regular affordable housing, or family affordable housing. So those 3-bedroom units, to your point, would be family affordable housing units within supportive housing buildings.
okay, all right.
Yeah, and Mr. Long can provide more detail in terms of how that works.
It's not all support housing then.
Correct. It's all affordable. 10 of them will be supportive, but they're mixed in with the other 38 families, so we're calling it the supportive buildings.
Why don't we put that stuff off for a
Okay.
second?
All right, okay,
Just
so,
focus on the site stuff right now.
okay, so another question I had, are there gonna be generators or any sort of outdoor, ground-mounted mechanical equipment?
There will be, I don't know about generators, but there definitely will be outdoor mechanical equipment, and we would, work with you and screen those areas.
Okay, good. And then you talked about the hot box. In addition to landscaping, I know in other communities, we've requested that they be painted also, because they're so much bright silver.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. We talked a little bit about the trash removal. I know I kind of had the similar concerns about operationally how it would work, because it does seem like a very long distance from for those people who are closest to Continental Drive. The other question I actually had is, you have, I like the pedestrian circulation that you've provided within the site. Is there potential, because you have all of this sort of preserved open space adjacent to you, is there a potential to add additional walkways, especially if you've got, this is sort of a somewhat isolated site, and so for people to have opportunities for walking or exercise within the site?
If I hear you, are you asking if we can have some type of pedestrian walkway into the neighboring property?
Not necessarily into, if yes, potentially, but I was thinking more even just along it, because I think it would be a nice view.
I'll just say from the conversations I've had with DEP is that they really like the idea of this retaining state definition of what's not the state-owned land versus what's the community area. They were originally gonna ask us to put a fence on the property line, which the retaining wall is actually eliminating that need. So I don't know if they would necessarily love the idea of having walking trails right along the property boundary, is my guess, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay. Well, let me just see if there's anything left over in my letter for you. Okay, the pedestrian accessibility, we just talked about. Talked about the hot box. Refuse and recycling. I think those are my only questions for Mr. Osich at this time.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then we also received memorandum from your traffic engineer, and the applicant is happy to comply with all of those comments.
Sure. Walt, you want to go over your report?
Sure. And first thing is, you do have a lot of pedestrian crosswalks, which I think is very, very good, because you're gonna have a lot of the kids here trying to get to that recreation area and everything, and, but I'd like to supplement that with pedestrian crossing signs. And each
Certainly do
and
that.
it's
You're,
gonna
yeah,
be-
you're talking in for,
Yes.
yeah.
And the other thing in my, the other issue is, I believe you won't have a problem with this. Usually we try, as much as we can, to get site triangles that agree with 10 miles over the speed limit. And,
You're talking about along Continental Drive?
yes, on Continental Drive, and you show it, you show profiles, that looks very good, and you show the horizontal sight lines, and I'm pretty sure that you can get that extra
Yeah, I
couple
saw
of
the
feet in there.
comment, and I test fitted it before this hearing, and we can make that work, so that'll be provided as a.
So you can just show that on the plan, that's super. The other thing is, a double yellow center line should be installed at all of the internal stop bars, extending back to the near edge of the first parking space on either side of the road. And that just sort of basically caps off the stop bar, and it brings, in some cases, you might only get 5 or 6 feet, but at least you're capping it off, and at least a car coming up knows where it has to be, so it's not in the way of a vehicle turning in. Again, a double yellow center line should be installed at the stop bar on the access road at its intersection with Continental Drive. What you have there is you've got your center island, and there's like an open space, so you wanna put a stop bar there. I think you definitely need keep right, R4-7 signs should be installed at all the ends of the access road center island. Stop bars should still be, even though you're in a site, they should be 2 feet wide. I think you have the detail as 1 feet. I know in some cases in a site, but we like to see the 2. And the other one that I was curious why you did this was at the 2 parking aisle T intersections at the western end of the site. You had kind of perpendicular stop bars there, which you really don't need. And I do say in my report that you can do 2 things. You can make it an all-way stop, or just put a stop sign at the stem of those Ts.
Yeah.
And I think that's good enough, just a stop
At the stem.
at the stem, yeah. Even in some cases, I think you'd go into developments, you wouldn't even see a stop sign there, but we're really, we wanna make the whole, we wanna just make it consistent. You've got all your, you've got all our pedestrian signs and stop signs. And I do wanna, add something, that's not in my report, as I look at this. And I'm looking at that, I guess the community building. And right now, what you have is you've got pedestrian walkways that are leading to what it appears, and I know you don't have that final designed or anything like that, but it appears that that center sidewalk that goes through that mall area,
You're talking about here?
yeah, it looks like there'd be an entrance, and on what side, and it looks like there'd be an entrance to that building on that side. There probably would be an entrance on the other side too, but if people are walking to that building from the 2 apartments, you probably want to put another pedestrian crosswalk at that intersection. And I'm trying to, if I can,
Whereabouts on that?
you know what, if I can describe it, I don't know if you can, yeah, if you can point to it there, exactly what I'm,
This area? Or you
yeah, right at the,
here? Or are you saying?
no, right in there, yeah, so you would have, so then that particular intersection would not only have a crosswalk on the western side of it, it'd also have a crosswalk on the eastern side. And again, that's for people walking, because I'm afraid that if there's no crosswalk there, they're still gonna try to cross there anyway. And then you'd also have to have connecting sidewalk to that crosswalk in that area. So that would be the one thing that's not in my report that I would like to see.
Okay.
But aside from that, I think it looks pretty good. And in terms of my report, I want to address one thing though in the planner's report. And that was some type of pedestrian connectivity to Continental Drive.
We were waiting for it.
And I thought about it, but again, that sidewalk's on the other side of the road. So, again, I want to see what the board thinks of that. If we've got people that are exercise joggers that want to go running up and down Continental Drive or walking up Continental Drive, do we want to provide that?
Yeah, so this hasn't been provided, so I'll mark this A2. It's entitled Pedestrian Access to Continental Drive Exhibit. Kind of clever, isn't it? And it's dated today's date, May 13th, 2026. Based on that comment from Ms. Lahini's, and I know we did take a step back and realized, yeah, we really are providing anything down there. So what this exhibit is illustrating is a potential solution to connect to that sidewalk on the opposite side of Continental Drive. Idea being it would follow the loop or the egress of the boulevard entrance. We would still have that grass strip, probably 4 feet wide, come down, and then there would be some type of crosswalk at Continental Drive. And obviously, as we all know, Continental Drive is a 40-mile-an-hour road. People drive fast, likely on Continental Drive. So there would likely need to be some coordination with the township on potential traffic calming and or signage and, the signage that lights up or flashes to really warn drivers of pedestrian crossing. What we're showing here is just a potential, but I think this kind of defines the way we could connect that back down to the sidewalk on top.
I think you definitely need, and there's plenty of, there's flashing pedestrian crossing signs all over the township, and you definitely need one here if you're gonna have a crossing there. Because again, I think our design speed there is gonna be around 50 miles an hour.
Who clears the site? My questions are snow removal, internal to the property, or there spot places where you're gonna throw the snow besides the electric vehicle parking?
So the applicant is responsible for snow removal within the site. So the street to be named, and the parking areas are, the applicant's responsibility. In terms of where snow is being stored, I don't know if that's been determined yet.
I mean,
We have to save you. We'll come back to it then. You can
From
testify to it.
a site design perspective, there is some green space. There is some green space that off to the southern portion of building 5 that we could store some snow, as well as in between buildings 1 and 6, there's some area. But an actual snow removal plan hasn't been prepared.
The same thing with the snow removal on the sidewalk on Continental Drive. Who takes care of it?
Whatever, Continental. I don't know if anybody does. Yeah,
We
but
live with
it
sidewalk
depends on who.
ordinance.
Yeah, but I don't know whose property is that. It would be, yeah, so it would be the town responsibility if it's public land, but,
Sidewalk to nowhere.
yeah. Nobody walks that much. I know that with that other,
Oh, that's today.
with Continental Crossing, right, we're trying to do more interconnectivity with the sidewalks and everything, so it makes sense to have this coming out to it, definitely agree with the pedestrian crossing. I would do a smart, not flashing all the time there. You're not gonna have too much pedestrian traffic, I don't think, especially at first, but having that push button
Then
one.
actuated, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's that?
They wouldn't have a calming table or anything like that.
No.
No, because you can't flash.
I'm not, yeah. I mean, there it's a little bit different, it's not in a residential area, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
there
true.
is a
I
maximum
was just
speed
looking
for
at
the,
that line here.
there's multiple different types of speed tables and the grading of them, depending on the speed, I wouldn't, if anything, what's the thick paint rumble strips, I forget what it's called. If
That type of
anything,
thing,
there,
yeah, no, I wouldn't
I
suggest
wouldn't
it,
even,
Right.
I don't even think
It's just,
it,
it's not that type of road, you know.
yeah. So,
So this would just be painted.
correct. Painted, advanced warning signs prior, and then smart actuated signs at the crossing itself.
Sounds good. I guess you'll work with it and then propose something and then we'll take a look at it. Yep. Sounds good.
And I think the other memo, we have already talked about it. We did receive a memo from your fire official dated April 30th, and again, the applicant will comply with those comments as well. I think that's everything I had for you, Mr. Osage. Unless there's other questions for you.
I mean, and just for the board's, my clarification to the board, we did spend a reasonable amount of time reviewing the application, had discussions with the applicant's engineer. And there's a 3-ring binder, so I don't know how many hundreds of pages thick with regard to the stormwater design. I mean, these certainly are, they're coming here looking for preliminary approval, but they're certainly not conceptual plans by any stretch of the imagination. We didn't see anything that was a glaring issue based on the information that was submitted.
Thanks, Mike. Anybody else have any other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Do you have proposed building colors?
Defer that to the architect.
Okay.
Taking over for Mr. Batch.
I am,
All right.
gotta make sure we answer his questions.
I like it.
Phoned it in.
So let me do this, let me open it to the public, if anybody has any questions for Mr. Osage. Based on the testimony that he delivered, and I see nothing from the public, so we'll close it. Kelly, thanks very much for your time. Excellent presentation. Kate, I think you probably
I
want
was
to
gonna say, we
swear
can
in
go to
Mr.
Mr.
Long.
Long, I think that makes sense, so.
Were you keeping track of the questions that?
I am, I have a
Good,
list.
okay.
Before we get rolling though, why don't we have you sworn, please, because you're
Sure.
the back witness.
Yep.
All right, sir. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your last for the record.
Jeffrey Long, GEOFFREY LONG, and I'm with Ingerman Development Company, LLC. I'm a development principal. 2 months under 20 years with Ingerman now. So,
Thank you.
So, Mr. Long, I have a couple questions that
Sure.
have come up so far. I think, why don't we start with a little more color on how the supportive units are gonna work and what that layout is like?
yes. So just to clarify about the supportive housing element to this, in order for us to apply for essentially 2 allocations of funding from the HMFA in this round, which would allow us to build out the full 120 units at this point, we needed to bifurcate the 120 units into 2 phases, which compete in 2 different groupings. One is in the general occupancy family cycle, and then the other one is in what's called the supportive housing cycle. And the supportive housing cycle, just for point of clarity here, is integrated supportive housing, which means that it's traditional general occupancy or senior, but traditional unrestricted affordable housing, so 100% affordable jobs, with a supportive housing component set aside of 20%, or 25%, I should say. So what ends up, 20%, excuse me.
Yeah.
You have a choice to elect certain supportive housing populations, but we have had success working with the developmental disabilities community. So that's State Developmental Disabilities Office, people with autism, people with physical disabilities, delayed developmental delays and things of that nature. We work with local providers, so in this case, we've been working towards a contract with the ARC of Morris County. We found that they're very excited about the opportunity to work in this community. They would be providing references for the 10 units that would qualify as the supportive housing units. Ingerman has a management company that would have, as you have the community center that's on site, that's for the community as a whole, but we would provide services, and at that community center, the ARC of Morris County would have an office to provide services there. Ingerman would be the administrative agent, so we would do all the qualifications, but we would work with ARC of Morris County to identify people and then, help them gather their information.
And then when you say that you're doing all the qualifications, you're talking about making sure that they're qualified from an affordable housing perspective.
Correct. So if you'd have your affordable housing administrator for inclusionary units maybe in town, but we as Ingerman management would act as that for this development for all the units. Specifically, when it comes to supportive housing units, we would be working with ARC to gather their information. They are independent living units, which is an important point of distinction from group home per se. So these are people that are signing year leases. They can live independently with support, but otherwise can live independently, have a lot of daily, activities, often work jobs in the community. So it's a highly integrated community. These units just kind of get put in at the ground floor with handicap accessibility to allow for people with disabilities to live in them. But, that is generally what they would look like.
Okay.
Wait, before you go on.
Yep.
Right.
Kid, early on, you had mentioned, when you were giving us the breakdown, I think you mentioned 48 supportive units.
Right.
So there's 48 units total in the 2 buildings that include supportive housing, and it's my fault because I was using sort of a shorthand. So of those 48 units, 10 of them are for folks who qualify for supportive housing, and the remaining 38 are standard family affordable units, but they're integrated within the same 2 buildings. And the reason for that is the state requires them to be integrated together. The state is trying to discourage anything that looks like an institution, so they don't want folks who qualify for supportive housing to be isolated. So in order to apply for the funding that's available for supportive housing, you actually have to have a mix of units within a building of both supportive and, I hate saying non-supportive, but standard family affordable units. And
Yeah, I
way-
like that integrated concept. I
Yeah.
think everyone else would like that too. Okay, so that makes sense. That clears up the number differences.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion.
No,
It
it's
was my
fine. We have a
own,
good explanation on
shorthand.
that now. Okay.
Can I, sorry, I have just one follow-up question. So in essence, of the 120 units, 110 will essentially be family rental?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, now I'm gonna move to the trash enclosure,
Right.
that came up early on, so the question was, I think we started out with, does it make sense to have only one trash enclosure location for the entire community? And then from there, we were spitballing, and maybe there should be one for each of the buildings. Can you talk a little bit about your experience in terms of where these are located and how they work within your communities?
Yeah, so it's somewhere in between. I would agree with the board that I think there needs to be a little work on citing trash enclosures, additional trash enclosures throughout the community. We generally have had success with having a group of trash enclosures, but spread throughout the community. People bring their trash to them. We have pedestrian access and handicap pedestrian access around the back, so we have man doors around the back. They're very attractive. We will put the same materials that we put on our buildings on the trash enclosures, so they're pretty good looking for a trash enclosure. But they do have that access and an ability for people to get to them. Private hauler, so we make adjustments, whether it's 2 or 3 times a week that we have people come through. Now with the Amazon universe and deliveries that we do, especially during the holidays, we're up to 3 once a
In the
week.
hauler.
Yeah, with the private hauler. So that's generally like what we would see, and like I said, we would work with professionals about the locations there. We have on-site management. Often the on-site manager will coordinate on the day of trash pickup, open up the gates, make sure that the bins inside are accessible, and that the trash is able to be picked up.
Now, next I'm gonna go to snow storage, and you heard Mr.
Right.
Osutch talk about some potential locations. Did you wanna add to that, or are you good?
No, I mean, I think generally speaking, it's a little early. I mean, this is often something when we have I hate saying it, but the hauler usually kind of guides our decision making. Obviously, we work with DPW. If you have an active DPW group in the township group that has an opinion about these types of things, but I mean, you do have a lot of dead end parking lots, and so I think just from my experience of doing this for 20 years, the probability is that you're going to stage snow at the end of those parking lots, where the turnarounds might be. If it gets, you have one of those 20-inch snowstorms, you do have to cart off site. You have to pay disposal for it if it comes to that. We prefer it doesn't, but sometimes that happens. We do it. We have 5,000 units in the state of New Jersey, so we have good relationships with our haulers. We try to find local people, but we have other properties in Morris County, so we usually have a contract and get this stuff out real quick.
Yeah, the only reason why I bring it up is this is preliminary. So if we don't give it thought now.
No,
the time.
it's a point well taken, and it's something that we have to consider.
And it's the same thought with the centralized garbage, because we do have very large development here that has nothing but problems for this board as far as garbage pickup, and it's centralized, and it's a mess.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say over the last 5 to 7 years, with just the amount of boxes and deliveries that we have, it's something that I deal with now with townships, every application, citing them, making sure that they're distributed evenly throughout the community, because managing the trash in these communities and in the post-Amazon world is just a challenge. I mean, it is. It's something I deal with all the time, and so we take it seriously as well. Open for the discussion, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's fairly forested land right now, and we get bear, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
like the wild kingdom.
Yeah.
Up here, so,
Yeah, I can't wait for
locked
my.
down and separate.
I know how much a bear-resistant trash can costs, so I can't wait for the commercial version of a bear-resistant trash can and how much that's going to cost. It's
It's beautiful.
I look forward to it.
I think that was our list for you. And so I'll pause to see if there's any other questions for Mr. Long at this point before we move on.
Anybody else have any questions? Maybe let me open it to the public. If anybody from the public has any questions for Mr. Long, based on his testimony this evening, I see none, so I'll close it to the public. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Next we have Julie Diston, who's the project architect, so I'd ask Julie to come and join me and be sworn, please. Not Julie.
Not this one? Oh, there.
Yeah, can step out, it's okay. We just need a minute to
Sure.
change the guard here.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me take a break. We'll take a 5-minute break. We'll come back in 6 minutes. At 9 o'clock, we'll start again.
That's perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Julie, I can Vanna White these for you when
Yeah,
it comes time. Yeah.
Like a city one.
I hope that kid never.
You're like, done.
I thought about changing jobs too after that one. I was like, maybe this
Okay.
isn't the right line of work for this.
Just make sure Sarah's ready and we'll bring it back. All good? Okay, Kate, let me give it over to you.
Thank
You
you
said you were
very
gonna introduce your architect.
Yes, so I think we need to have Ms. Diston sworn before we get going.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do it.
Just raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give the board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last for the record.
Sure. Julie Diston, Diston. Ms. Diston, can you please introduce yourself to the board and the public and tell them about your experience and credentials?
Sure. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Julie Diston. I'm an architect with over 25 years' experience. With WRT, I've been there about 20 years. I'm a principal of the firm. I have been licensed since 2007, currently licensed in New Jersey as well as several other states and in good standing, and have gone before various planning boards in the state of New Jersey as well as other states. I have a Bachelor of Architecture degree from the University of Notre Dame and a good member of AIA and NCARB, et cetera.
I'm going to pause you.
Sure.
So we'd ask that Ms. Diston be accepted as an architect, please.
Just everything is current as of tonight?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions? Liz, any?
No, not at all.
Julie, welcome. We certainly accept you as a professional architect for this year.
Okay, so Ms. Diston, can you please tell us about the buildings that are being proposed in terms of their layout as well as their exterior features?
Sure, absolutely. Do we want to just mention that we did revise a couple of the exhibits?
Sure, that'd be
Okay.
great.
So we do have an additional exhibit, which was the rendering, the center
So we
exhibit.
have you mark it, please.
That's gonna be marked A3.
A3.
Yep. So you doing pen?
Pen.
And write A3 on there for me. Thank you.
Julie, that rendering that you're marking, what's the viewpoint?
Hold on. Phone in your
Well,
front.
we should probably point, let me just double check. Yes, okay. So, from the central community space, looking in this direction. So you're basically seeing the edge of this building, which I believe is building 2, and then townhouse building in the rear.
And the townhouse building is,
Sorry, building 1.
wait, I don't think that's right. So,
No, 2.
Sorry.
yeah, so you're looking, at it's a,
1, 2, 3.
yeah,
We got it though.
right, the numbering is confusing. So you're looking kind of dead on at building number 3, and to the right is building number 2, which is the townhouse building, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
You will get
you have to point that out.
coordinates.
All right,
Okay. In my mind, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's actually, yeah, 2, 3. So, okay. Forgive me for that. And we did revise specific sheets A103 and 104 and A202 in relation to some of our planning comments. So we'll get into
yeah, we'll get to those in a minute. What,
Correct.
you don't have them up yet, do you?
there.
Yeah, we'll do it when we get there.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so unit count, I think we talked all about the 120 units. I'll break it down into the building type. So buildings 1 and 2 are that townhouse type building typology. So it's 12 units each with 6 2-bedroom units and 6 3-bedroom units per building. Buildings 3 through 6 are I'll call them a walk-up typology, each having 24 units. Each of those have different unit mixes. I don't know if you want me to go into all
No,
of
we
that,
have it. We already
but
have it.
I think you're good. We do have average square footages per unit. I will say, from the planning letter, we did catch a glitch in relation to our 3-bedroom units. Our 3-bedroom units are actually ranging from 1,200 square feet to 1,273, so we did revise that per the comment. And I think.
And with that revision, they would comply with the minimum size that's required by the state, correct?
Correct, yes. And that's also in relation to, there was a comment in relation to the bedroom sizes. They'll all also meet any minimum size requirements per New Jersey. There was lastly another comment in relation to the bedroom windows, and so there was also a printing glitch on the plans. Thank you for catching that. And we did reprint those plans, and yes, there are windows all along the back and side.
Do you have that handy that we can turn to it?
Yes. So forgive me, that is 103.
And since these are new, I think we probably do need to mark them, Julie. So they're gonna be A4, which is, which sheet?
I believe 103, A103 is technically A4.
A4? And then, before we start talking about the updates, you can probably mark the next sheet too. Yeah, that's fine.
So, you'll see windows all along the rear inside facades. So you have adequate vent and light for bedroom, et cetera. And then A104 is similar, so that's the third story.
And you're, if you just
And
mark
that would be
A5, please. Yep.
Just quickly go to elevation sheet A202.
Julie, was this submitted previously?
It was, but it's been revised.
Okay, so that's gonna be A6,
A6.
and that's sheet A202.
A202.
Okay.
And that is addressing the rear facade as well. So we're showing all four sides of the building, which have windows on all sides. So hopefully that addresses that concern. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead and talk about the elevations a little bit. So we have obviously two styles of buildings. The townhouse type is 2 to 3 stories. The walk-up style is 3 stories. You can see. This was previously submitted.
And it's sheet A201, just so everyone can follow along. Yep.
But basically our townhouse style of building has 2 to 3 stories. The central area is 2 stories. The end units are 3 stories, and those are basically the 3-bedroom units versus the straight up and down townhouse. The elevations are, in general, we're using a mix of masonry, veneer, and water tables. So you'll see the white areas are brick, I believe, on the main elevation. The various differences in color are being just representative at this point. I know there's a color question. Everyone's excited for color. But right now, because we are at preliminary stage, we want to really progress the drawings and study them
Natalie, before you go on, I think it sounds like we're on the same page. And as you're doing your planning, and we certainly will give you that for final, you need to keep in mind that it's important to the planning board that your color choices are exactly what you just said to us. Playing into the fact that you're very rural, you have some nice earth tones, that would go over very well. If we start seeing plans with lime green accents, you'll run into a problem.
Noted.
Okay,
Understood. Yes.
so we'll wait for final to see your final plans.
And we appreciate it for the flexibility because we do want to really study.
Yeah. Nice potential there for color.
So anyway, and both of the buildings really are sharing the same materials. So we really do want to express the importance of durability here. So we're going to use brick in,
Can you repeat that? I can't hear you.
Oh, sure.
Exterior materials?
Yes, exterior materials that are durable, so that we're, making sure that there's longevity here and that we're
Maintenance-free.
Well, there's nothing that's maintenance-free, that's for sure.
But,
Did I hear you say brick?
yes, masonry. So brick veneer, as well as brick water tables, so this is the base, and then siding. Again, we're, at preliminary stage, so we're studying different siding materials, things of that nature, but in general, we'll do vertical, lap siding, things of that nature. Boarding batten is one that we like to use because it just kind of can help break up the facade. So, we will do vinyl windows, although windows would be per Energy Star and, meeting the energy requirements as much as possible. Okay, what else am I missing? Oh, roof. So in general, we have two styles. We have a kind of semi-gable roof, which would be an asphalt shingle, and then we also have some flat areas for roof. And we'll be stepping those in relation to the grade. We do have a lot of grade change on the site, so we're going to be cognizant of that. And in general, that would be a membrane roof. And I think that's maybe it.
Will the supportive housing be ADA accessible or adaptable?
Yes, so there's actually,
Listen, and beyond, so why don't we talk about, the good segue, Mr. Bryce, why don't we talk about accessibility for all of the buildings, and you can talk about what the requirements are and how they're being met, please.
Well, just one question. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
Is there not an elevator in the apartment?
No.
So you've got a 3-floor building with no elevator?
Correct.
How do they get?
Well,
so that's per fair housing, that's an allowed, permissible, typology. And so we do this in several locations, several states, all over the United States. But basically, it's a walk-up style, so you have, round floor flats that would be fully accessible. And then you have, internal staircases that would take you up to the upper flats.
I'm just thinking about people moving in, carrying mattresses and, no elevator, not even no elevator at all.
Understood.
no, it's,
But Kathy, you understand that, like Camelot is a 3-story walk-up, and the Marvelin Farms is a 3-story walk-up, and that seems to be the norm. I know we tried years ago from the planning board to insist on elevators, and it sounded like it's just not done in the industry.
so I can add a little color, because this does come up frequently, and so the New Jersey Building Code governs what types of buildings are required to have elevators, and so the requirement for, and it's based on the overall height of the building, as you might imagine, and also the total number of units. So for this kind of building, the building code requirement is that all of your first floor units have to be accessible. They also have to need to have an accessible route to get to their parking, as well as accessible entry doors. But there is not a requirement that you provide accessibility between stories of the building, which would be your elevator. So that's the applicable code requirement, and of course, we're designed to, we must, and we do design to the code.
And then the challenge is, because you are not alone in saying, oh, how are these people gonna get to the third floor? But there is a substantial expense associated with the elevators, and so because it's not a code requirement, it's an expense that, in order for these projects to be competitive for tax credits, they're not able to, meet. So that's probably more information than you were looking for.
Drive their electric cars up.
I keep thinking about Friends, pivot, trying to get that.
And also just, per code, I believe it's the exact thing is 4 stories above the level of exit discharge, and so because we're a 3-story building, it's not applied. Okay. So, we kind of skipped over the community
I
building.
was just gonna say, do you wanna talk about the community building?
Sure, absolutely. So the community building, obviously centered in this central green space, is really a very simple structure, 1-story building. Has the, mix of gable, I think it's just a gable, basic roof style, again, masonry, and siding. So, very simple structure.
Hold on, so we're looking at sheet A203, which was previously submitted, correct? All right, keep going.
And we would have, large community space, management office, resident services, good-sized fitness area, as well as, maintenance and backup house spaces, restrooms, et cetera. So, pretty simple structure. But that's where Jeff's team would, manage the property from this central green space. And, as we progress, we would make sure that the materials are matching throughout, but maybe, alter some color or sizing variations, things like that. Okay.
Just another item I had on my list for you, in terms of, the mechanical units that are gonna support those buildings, can you talk about, those are gonna be ground mounted, correct?
Yes.
And they'll be screened with landscaping as
Screened
well.
with landscape, and those are usually on little concrete pads, 3x3, typical. They're relatively, innocuous size. I'd say 3x3-ish. But in general, we would absolutely screen them so that, and we would kind of gang them together so that we would have a nice screen landscape zone in addition to that. And we would work with Kelly's team to civil engineer to locate those in opportune spots along the site.
And no roof mounted
No roof
mechanical equipment.
Okay, and then, we may have a prefabricated shed potentially for some maintenance, and Kelly, I'm not sure, not to be located, But again, those are, generally off-the-shelf, 10x10 size, siding and roofing materials to match, so, again, blend that into the design as well. And then we can start to address more planning comments, but before we get there, does anyone have?
Quick question on the interior, I didn't see it on the plans, washer dryers in the units?
Yes, thank you. That was on my list to ask, and I forgot. Thank you. Go ahead, Julie.
Within each unit.
Because they're pretty far away from the laundromat.
I will. Yes, we have those.
And it's a pain.
It is. So thank you, Mr. Long. Yes, so,
There are a few kind of architecturally related comments that we had from Ms. Leaney that we can get into if you'd like. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman? or-
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
did anyone have any other questions?
No, I don't think, anybody else, before we move on to,
Julie, I just have a kind of a, I'll call it a stupid,
No questions are stupid.
in the gable part of the structure on that third floor, would those interior ceilings be vaulted?
Talking about here? Oh, no, likely not. Unfortunately, that's a little bit cost prohibitive, and we would be mindful of any fire protection, so we want to make sure that, all of these buildings would be sprinkled for NFPA 13R. If we get into vaulting
Okay, so Liz, did you have a comment or question?
I'm sorry. I had a few questions that have been answered with regarding the size of the units and the bedroom. There's a requirement in the law that they all have windows, and so apparently it was a printing error. Some of the other items that we have in our letter relate to things that are probably going to be more a part of final site plan. It may be a little preliminary right now to go through them. I think the only question I would have, and again, this is perhaps preliminary, is will there be patios or any sort of space with the townhomes?
Yes, go for it. And I did note this. Remind me which planning, that was number 18?
Yep.
So all townhouse units shall have an exterior space. Ground floor units will have patios to be tornado safe. And upper 3-bedroom units will have balconies in the rear. So we are intending. That being said, the 3-story, I'll call it walk-up units, we do have shared areas at the staircases that have balconies.
Are those more like landings than balconies? Because that's where the stairs are, correct?
It is where the stairs are.
So you could.
But the stairs are internal, so this is
Okay.
actually you're stepping out onto a balcony.
So it's not an egress, you're not.
It's not a distance. No, the stairs are internal.
Was anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we covered, we talked about mechanical units, comment
We're good.
13.
Yeah, we got it, Julie.
Okay,
Looks complete.
thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to just touch on building mounted lighting? 'Cause we talked-
I don't think we need to. I think we're good. Yep, thank you though.
Let me use the opportunity, if anybody else on the planning board has any questions, otherwise I will open it to the public. If anybody from the public has any questions for our architect, now's a good time. And I see nothing from the public, I'll close it to the public. Kate, I'll send it back to you.
Sure.
For-
So, Ms. Diston was our last witness for the evening. So, if you'd like, I can kind of sum up where we are in terms of the application briefly, but I think everyone's aware of what's being proposed. So, I mean, again, preliminary, major site plan subdivision. We have the one variance that's related to the retaining wall height. And then we also have the one waiver related to the proposed monument sign in terms of its proximity to the road. I think we had a number of very helpful suggestions that we received this evening from the board, which we will take a look at and come back to you, hopefully, if we were to be approved tonight, and if we are approved for tax credits, we would be back to you with the final site plan application that would incorporate that feedback as well.
Thanks, Kate.
Yeah.
Nice and brief.
Try.
So, okay, so we all understand on the planning board, this is a preliminary approval, a lot of work ahead, but I think with tonight's effort, we've gotten a really nice plan. We have a good understanding of what's happening. I think we've hashed out some of our concerns. And with that being said, I don't know if anybody else has any comments. Okay, thank you, Jim. So, and so before I look to the planning board, I'm gonna open it up one more time. If anybody from the public has any comment or question, please come on up to the podium. You'll state your name, and Mr. Bryce will swear you in. Good evening, Irene.
Hi, Irene Sergonis, 37 Mount Olive Road, Bud Lake.
Let me just swear, and you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Please state your name and spell your last.
Irene Sergonis, S as in Sam, E-R-G-O-N-I-S. I just want to put it on public record. I'm part of the Environmental Commission and Open Space. So usually in the Environmental Commission, we do get the plans ahead of time to make comments. I understand this is preliminary, so that didn't happen as far as I know in this case. So I would just, like that to happen in the future because we do have some really smart people on that committee and they might have some input. Another thing, with the community center I want to bring up, we have apartment complexes here that charge for the use of these community centers, and they're almost driving people out of their apartments. So I'm not sure if that's a plan. I would like to see that would be.
If I may, so part of, because this is an affordable community, there's no additional charge to use the community center. So just by virtue of paying your rent, you are a resident of the proposed community would be permitted to use all of the facilities within the community building.
That's very good to hear.
Yeah.
What else did I have? The first gentleman, he mentioned several times that it's isolated. And it's right, it does not really border Route 80, but as part of being a town and a community, to have 120 units way off to the side is, to me, very, very concerning. And I do spend some time on International Drive, and those UPS trucks, the Amazon trucks, they're flying through there. And I'm very concerned. There is a train station in Mount Olive, but I don't think there's any way for people to be able to walk to the train station. There's no safe way. So that's something to think about also. So this is, but it's just way off in a corner. It's like, do we really want affordable housing? Do we want people that need affordable housing in our community, or we just put them to the edges? I want to welcome people. So that's my comments. I hope you take them into consideration. I do hike a lot in that area and maintain the trails there, and it does upset me to lose this 57 acres, but there's only so much I can do. Thank you.
Irene, before you go, I just think your comment was certainly noted by the applicant, that when the plans are submitted again, that we'll make sure that a copy goes to the Environmental Commission.
Yeah, we'll coordinate.
Okay,
I'll make sure we have the process right
Thanks.
for offline. Yeah.
good point, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, anybody else from the public? Seeing none, close to the public. I just have one request from the applicant, which is, and I don't know if this has been done already, but we're talking 120 units, a mix of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. Have we done an analysis of the number of school children that this will put into the schools? And if you haven't, could you have that for us upon final?
So short answer is no, we have not, since it's a permitted use, and the school children impact is typically baked into that permitted use component of it. That being said, we can certainly look into, the numbers from the Rocker study, if you'd like.
I think the good news is that the Board of Ed is aware of the application
I would
pending.
think so, yeah.
I just think if you associated a number to it, it'll help with their planning. So if you can deliver that at some point for final, we'll be able to share that, Brian, with the Board of Ed.
Yeah, even though we know the Rutgers numbers
All right,
are
we
typically
understand.
way off, but that's what we have to do.
Yeah, right.
1.9 kids per unit.
Well, you're getting all caught up with state standards, Brian.
I know.
All right, well, anybody else have any comments? Jamie?
Yeah, I just had another thought, because Route 80 is there. I thought of it before, and then Irene said it. With those other houses that are built in that back area, they did a noise study. Does that need to happen with the windows? Are they close enough to Route 80, or?
They're buffered up.
Yeah, I think with all the woods, I don't think this is close enough to Route 80 to warrant any kind of concern. But if it's a concern, we can address it.
I just didn't know how close they would be.
It's pretty far from Route 80, huh?
Is it?
It's not like that other development.
Not right on 80.
Yeah, the other development is right on Route 80.
Yeah, they're using the ramp.
Right. Hard to hear yourself think. All right, so with that being said, if nobody else has any questions or comments, let me ask for a motion on this application.
I'll make that motion. 26-04.
To approve? Yep. Thank you, Brian.
Second.
Second by Catherine. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, Sarah, roll call.
David Scapicchio,
Yes.
Brian Schaechter,
Yes.
Ken Forlenza,
Yes.
Catherine Natafalusy,
Yes.
Nothing's final.
William Galop,
Yes.
Jamie Shanaphy,
Yes.
Howie Weiss.
Yes,
Thanks very much, everybody.
very nice job tonight, team. Nice
Good luck
job.
with your
Thank you.
application.
Folks, listen,
you. Yeah.
planning board, before we adjourn, I've been advised that we need to just go into closed session for a couple of minutes. So, although we moved tonight's schedule pretty quickly, we just need a little bit more time. So as you wrap up your things, we're gonna go into a closed session, so,
We'll get out of your hair.
no problem, just,
Sarah, do you want this plan?
Yeah. I was like, what is that on there?
No, she's fine, they're mine.
What's this in my pocket? Oh, shit there.
Wondering what those were.
Hey, Jim, is this about outcome meetings?
Do you want me to pull those for you? Sure.
Sarah?
Keep that license active.
I can talk to them now.
Don't get my electric car, so it's a new charger. Most ridiculous legislation.
You're preaching to the choir, I'll tell ya. It's,
The expense alone is ridiculous.
well, it's expensive, the project has to work.
No one really,
Not in this environment.
hopefully they allow other people to park in those spots.
And this is literally gonna be 2 minutes,
Yeah, that's fine, I understand.
unless you guys wanna start chit chat.
No, we'll wait, and then we're gonna have to make a motion to go into closed session. We have to go into closed session. Oh, no, probably not. It's expensive litigation. We're gonna jump on the traffic today. I thought it was a great application.
No, that's tomorrow night off. Great, again.
That's what we were talking about in committee, which was, let's just put some kind of convenience, whether it's just a quick place for get some milk. Cross at the traffic, and stay off the roads. We talked about that. And we were told that we didn't know if we could make it excuse that because of the state restrictions. And it was being discussed, and so there's still a little property, there's still a lot of property.
To some degree, but
I would think 120.
that's what's happening, you know that, don't you?
There's stuff there. Yeah. Good job.
I think it's maybe came from the board earlier.
Just money making.
Yeah, that's my crew.
He threw it at you.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Well, not me, I.
we're running low.
Yes, we have 4 million.
Listen, with an unlimited budget at town hall,
Yeah,
get anything we
the
need.
big pens explode.
Really?
Pharmacy sends a med, and we're just waiting
I'm
for
not
it,
a
and we always,
social, I don't
there's
volunteer in any.
no tracking with Barclays.
Right, you got nothing. You got the pen with no ink in it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, I'm like,
But then it's
you got the right silver pens.
Okay, so what I'd like to do now is, I'd like someone to please make a motion that we go into closed session. Jamie, thank you. Brian, second. Just for the record, there will be, we'll come back into a public session. There'll be no further. Okay, so we're back in open session, and I have no further business, so I'll look for a motion to adjourn. So move, Jamie.
second that.
Brian, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, we'll see you in June.
No meeting next week.